Welcome everybody. So this is the next episode of our series here with Stefanos. And so we're going to go over journaling. Stefanos is going to walk you through his entire journal. I know everybody loves Stefanos journaling. That's kind of like what he was known for on Instagram, and he's going to be coming back soon. So you guys will get to see all of these breakdowns pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to being back on. But what's going on, guys? This honestly should be short and sweet because you guys all know that you should be journaling, right? Whether you're an experienced trader or a novice trader, this is something that everyone should be doing, because even if you're an experienced trader and you're making good money, guess what level that you could be on if you were journaling, right? And it's so important, and it equates just to everything else. Let's say you're a real estate agent right now and you're trading on the side. So as a real estate agent, you got to make cold calls. You got to get clients, right? How do you get better at those cold calls? First of all, obviously, you're going to be on a daily basis. You're getting 100 calls at least out a day. So you're getting good at that point. But at the end of the day, let me record myself to see how much better I was during that call. Or how did I handle this rebuttal? Or how did I do this? Or how did I say this? So you need to study yourself. If you're a professional athlete, you got to study your film and you got to see what you could be doing better. You got to study your opponents. It goes for every single profession, especially in business. So as a trader, the hardest market in the world, you got to journal. You have to study your past performance. You got to study what you should have been doing. Even on winning trades, there's always something that I see that I could have probably done better. It's kind of rare that I'll take a trade and it's literally perfect entry, perfect secure, perfect moving my stop loss to break even, perfect runner, everything. It's very, very rare that I can't find something that I could be doing better. And that's the constant mindset that you guys need to have on a daily basis. How can I get better? Every single day, every single second needs to be focused on getting better at your craft. And it doesn't have to be just trading. Like, you guys could be trading right now and maybe you're starting to realize it is for you. Maybe it's not for you, but you're doing something else too that you really want to be good at. You got to put all your attention towards that and getting good at that and dominant at that. So I think this series, obviously it's based around trading, but it's entrepreneurship as a whole and giving you guys a more realistic approach of how you can handle this whole journey. Because we all know it's rough. It's develops that tough skin that you need, but it's rewarding. Yeah, we both know that, and it's amazing. I'd rather work 100 hours a week than 40 for somebody else. So
these are things that, like, I've noticed. For example, like you brought up, like real estate, right? So recording ourselves, of course, and then we also record our VAs, right? So whenever they're making the calls, and so we get to like go through their entire recording, couple of recordings, and see, like, what are they consistently doing right or where they're consistently doing wrong, and then increasing the volume according to that, like how many deals are we closing, and all of that. And it's the same exact thing like other businesses as well. So of course, journaling is very important, but it's also the details that matter. So I'm pretty sure we're going to go through that, and then you're going to walk us through all the details that you have in your journaling.
Yep, absolutely. I literally just closed out my tab right there. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna like kind of break the chart down real quick and look for a possible trade, and then we were going to bring it on to start journaling the trade I would have taken. This is one that I caught on gold, on GJ. This is gold. So let's go to GJ real quick. So this is one I'm actually still in right now. Let's go from the beginning and I'll show you exactly how to journal your trades. Now, I hope you guys are all familiar with Trello. Very useful. You can use it for many other things, but I use it specifically for trading. And you could set these columns up however way you want. So this is a board right here. You can set up your background, do whatever you want. That belongs there. But this, you have multiple columns, right? So each column, what I do is I separate them by weeks. Now, a previous board that I had, I'm just going to give you an idea. Let's see if I even have it. Old trading. Here we go. I used to set it up a little bit differently. Obviously, my computer needs more RAM. So I used to set it up. This is old. I haven't seen these in a minute. So what you want to do, like right over here, I have like currently in. So like when I'm transferring pictures, you'll see what I'm doing when I'm, when I'm talking about that, you'll see what I'm talking about. But when it comes to like good wins, right? If you want to, let's say you want to set it up like this. So a good win is sticking to your rules and you won the trade, obviously, right? A good loss is sticking to your rules and you lost the trade. A bad win is not sticking to your rules and you won anyway, right? And then you have the bad loss where you didn't stick to your rules and you lost the trade. Typically that happens most of the time anyway. So, and then these are trades that I analyzed, but I didn't take. So trades I should have taken, right? So my new board, obviously, like I said, I set it up, by the week. So, all my trades for the week go all the way down from Sunday all the way down to Friday. So here we go. And I'll do a new one over here. So August 22nd to August 27th, 2020, or 2021. So this is our new week. Let's say I already have one right here, but this is the new week. So let's say we're looking at GJ and we're about to take a trade. So what I do, and you're going to have to rewatch this probably once or twice to understand like the process, and you guys could have your own process as well. But this is just what I do. I see a setup. I'm about to start taking screenshots of that setup of the multiple time frames. So I head over to Trello real quick and I just hit like long GJ. So just enter, right? So that just creates a card for you. So this is a card, you got your description section, and then you could start putting screenshots of your trades in here. So what I do, and you could just copy and paste those into here, but what you do is you go over to Trading View, right? And let's say we want to take this trade over here. So what I was looking at on GJ, just a quick little breakdown for you, and why I took this. So this will bring even more value for you guys. But GJ, quick summary. I'm not going to do a full breakdown, but we were respecting this bearish trend, printing lower lows and lower highs. We ended up reaching a major support over here on the daily and the weekly over here, right here at 149, around 300. So let's call it 149, 300. We found that support, right? Ended up breaking the bearish trend over here with this candle right here. We closed above it, right? Then we ended up consolidating and kind of retesting this bearish trend with this move right over here, holding support and kind of consolidating. But you see how we have that bullish pressure. And since we've created that support, or respected that support, better yet, we've been printing these higher lows. So looking at the 1 hour, again, we respected it right over here. And we respected that previous resistance over here, previous resistance. We respected it as a new support in this consolidation. I stayed out of GJ since Sunday, right? What is today? Yeah. So we've been consolidating in here since Sunday over here. So I've been staying out and I've been waiting for us to break out of here. And I knew that if we broke this resistance right over here, right? If we broke that with some volume, we should be continuing right through here, right up to 151, 300, right? So that's honestly what ended up happening. So right over here, we're consolidating. We're holding this support, a higher low than over here.
Another thing to notice is that you have that major consolidation, but see how price is approaching that resistance, and then it starts to consolidate some more. It's collecting more orders. And then we see like a push out, which, we'll see here. But that's the market giving you hints from price action. Where is it headed? And then 100%. Before you go ahead and press play, and then of course, after your explanation, could you just lay out where's the rules that you're looking for before looking for the entry?
Yeah. I mean, what I look for is we broke the bearish trend. We formed that support. Now we're starting to print higher highs and higher lows over here. So that's my main thing. Then I'm looking at the range of which I can trade in. So right over here, I'm seeing, first of all, actually, where's my stop loss going to be? My stop loss is going to be in a safe spot right down here, right? And what do I want to do? I want to take price. If we do break this wick up here and we close above that level, I want to take price right up into this level. That's why I have that line right there. That's going to be my take profit. So do I have a possible range to trade in? That's about 25 pips right there. So that's another one that you want to check. You also want to check the time. Okay, we got a high volume time. I took this at 9:51 this morning. So
Mhm.
9:51 on the East Coast, get some solid volume before 10 o'clock. And then eventually, obviously, you got the next hour, which is the London close. So you want to look at the time, you want to look at the price. Okay, we're at a key level, 150,800. So we need
Mhm.
price to close above that level for us to continue right back up. So there's multiple things that we need to happen for us to go. But first, we're looking at the higher time frames, and we see that the previous two daily candles are very bullish, and we have a wick to fill right here. Before
Yep.
I entered this, we didn't fill this wick yet, but it looked like we were coming up to fill it. But right
Mhm.
now, since we're at the daily, what I'm going to do is show you my process of journaling. Right over here, we got the daily zoomed out a little bit. This is all I have to really take a picture of. I don't really normally go to the weekly or the monthly. I
Mhm.
typically know what those look like, but I start with the daily, sometimes the 4 hour, but I go to this camera feature right up here next to publish, copy chart image, and they actually changed the setup, which I like a little bit better
Mhm.
than what they previously had. So I'm going to go right over to my journal. All I do is right click and paste. That's your daily. So I just write D, right? Then I go right back to this thing. And for me, this is pretty quick. It's a quick process. For you, I mean, after a while, it might take you a little bit until you finally get the hang of it. But I could just run through this real quick, take all my screenshots, the 4 hour. Sometimes I'll start labeling on the 4 hour, right? Sometimes I won't. Sometimes, like, I know what I'm seeing. If I were to go back into my journal and look at some of these screenshots, I know exactly what I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah.
But if I'm sending this to my group, or anybody else, then I'll label the higher time frames. But
Mhm.
right back to the 4 hour, copy chart image right over here. And it also helps to have two screens because you're not doing that. You're just going over to the next
Yeah.
4 hour.
There
All
you
right. So
go.
now I have the daily and the 4 hour. Now, the reason I'm making this sound so simple is because people ask me how to journal all the time, and I lay it all out for them. And they'll still ask me questions on, like, I really don't get how to journal. If I'm really dumbing this down, don't take offense. It's just, that's how it is. And I hope it helps you guys too. So anyway, here we go with the 1 hour, copy chart image. And sometimes if I'm like, especially on the live stream, I'll label these a little bit, a little bit later. And I'll also add my detail in there, my description in later as well. I won't do that in the live stream. So I'll just literally copy and paste these images into here. And then later I'll go back. And that's a good way to review actually your
Mhm.
trading session, so that you could say, like, okay, this is what I was looking for and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
looking at the 1 hour, 30-minute real quick, we're still in that range. So I'm going to take that picture, that over here, and I get how tedious this looks and how tedious it is for you guys that are already journaling, but keep doing it and see yourself in 6 months, see where you're at.
A lot of people, they'll start off journaling, they'll see the progress, and then they'll stop, right? This is a process that you have to keep going through. You can't just stop just because you see a little bit of progress in like a couple of weeks or a couple of months. There's always small things that you're going to end up missing just because you got too comfortable. You can never get too comfortable.
Not only that, they'll go the opposite way where they're losing and they're
Yeah.
like, you know what, I'm not gonna journal this trade.
Yeah.
It's, and I've been there, right? It's just like, and that's earlier in the past of beginning trading, and not truly, I've always truly known how important journaling is, but at the same time, in the very beginning, I was very lackadaisical. I wasn't as disciplined as I am now, and you start to realize, and I think that'll help you guys that perspective,
Yeah.
because you might be in the same spot where you feel like you don't have to journal, or maybe sometimes you are journaling, and you come across like just a really stupid trade that you
Mhm.
shouldn't have taken, and you're just like, I know I'm not going to do that next time. I'm not going to journal it, and guess what?
Yeah.
You do it again.
Yeah.
So
Even when you're journaling, and then some people that stop journaling, then it's like, I know what I'm looking for. And then eventually you get to the point where it's like you lose a trade, you don't know what happened, you're not able to analyze why it happened.
exactly. So let's see what we got here. So the 30-minute, we ended up pushing up and closing above this level at 9:30,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we closed above, but we ended up rejecting 150,800 over here. Now that we have these new candles here and this candle closing like that, I'm going to take another screenshot of the 30-minute. And maybe I'll label this real quick. 30-minute closed above resistance. And normally, like I said, I'll have things labeled on the chart. Probably should do that right now. Just like quick example, like price bouncing off bullish trend support. So you do that over here.
Yeah.
And then what you would put right here is like 2, and always label like the numbers. Because if you're sending your chart to somebody that you want them to review it, you know, we don't want to be all over the place trying to figure out what you were thinking. Instead, just, you know, number all this stuff. So waiting for close above resistance, which is what we just got.
Mm-hmm.
You take a picture of that. You could probably delete the other one.
See, what I do is I just put the links instead of doing the copy image. Like I'll go to attachment and just put the link in.
Like add an attachment right here.
Yeah, and then I just post the link.
Just like the same way I'm doing.
Yeah, so like you know how you did copy chart? Instead, I do copy link to the chart.
Does that do anything different? Let's see.
No, it's legit just the link to it, and if anyone clicks on it, then they're directed right to the chart.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that, and then I realized if I just copy and paste it into the description, it automatically goes anyway. So it's
Perfect.
oh, there you go. It's convenient. So we're over here. Let's see the 15-minute. I like taking pictures of 15-minute.
Mm-hmm. So 15-minute also closed above resistance.
Yep. I took this at 9:51 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make it as accurate as I can. I think I took it after this candle close or near that candle close. Yeah, as the 5-minute was kind of retesting over here. So let's put our entry right over here. Put my stop loss right down there. My TP was right up here, which I ended up deleting down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just write like, all right, this is my entry, like 3, you know, entered as price closed with my stop loss below this area, copy and paste that in there. Like you guys know the deal with what I was doing over here. I just wanted to show you what I was doing. So do that every time price moves or does something where like, you know that down the road you're looking at your chart and you're looking at your journal and you want to put yourself right back into that situation and understand what you were thinking. Do it as, you know, make as much screenshots as possible. I taught a buddy of mine, Mate, that's in my group. One of these journals he sent me, he had 114 attachments, which I mean, I don't know how necessary that is, but I thought it was awesome. It's just like, all right, he understands, right? That's what that told me. He understands how important it is. So, you know, you take the screenshot of the entry. Price ends up pushing up. I ended up when price pushed up to here, my first take profit was up here. So I'm not going to secure over here. What I ended up doing was I ended up moving my stop loss up here, and then I moved it to break even. Right. So I was risk free once we reached this resistance. So if we rejected that, you know, it'll take me out. But if price started closing in our direction, I could have always re-entered. But I went risk free over here. So another screenshot right here. Add that to your journal. Price pushes up. I secured 50% at I believe this is 18 pips right here. So obviously my stop loss is already at break even. Let this keep going. I ended up securing, let's see, where was it? When price was like starting to get a little iffy over here, and I was walking away from my computer as well, I secured one more time right over here. And then the rest of it has been, you know, risk-free. So price is pushing up. So every time you take an action on your trade, you got to take a screenshot. Just know that, right? And then down the road, what you can do, you know, every time something happens, you're you know, taking a screenshot. But what you also want to do is now you're going to have the details on the chart of what you were doing in these different instances But when it comes to any kind of the fundamentals behind the trade, when it comes to anything that you're thinking that really you're not going to put on the chart, that's where you put this into the description, right?
Yep.
So I think
The
I have
more
one.
details you have in your journal, the better off you're going to be. Because if you were to go back, let's say like, Brexit was happening, there were Brexit talks, and let's say Brexit's happening right now, right? Put yourself in that position last year. And maybe there's a couple of times where we've seen the same exact situation, couple of times where they give a deadline, the UK gives a deadline to the EU, and they're like, well, if you don't, make a decision by this point, by this date, we're going to walk away. All right. So I've taken trades on GJ with the same exact situation a couple of different times. So now I go back into my journal and I take a look at, okay, the UK has given the EU a deadline, let's say in July, right? And right now we're sitting in November. What is the market condition going to be like? Is there volatility? You're going to see the same exact setups happening every single time, right? It's just going to be a different catalyst from a fundamental perspective. So now I go back and take a look at, okay, what happened there? What am I making sure that I'm not, being faked out? What am I looking out for, being cautious of? And then how am I going to take this trade if it does come up, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
those
a
are
great
the
point.
small details that you have to kind of pay attention to, because trading is all about details.
Exactly. As much as you can put in here as you can, the better. Right.
Right.
Like there's just like a little example of a trade I got on gold Monday the 16th. But like
Mhm.
see these details that you put in here. I could go all the way back and see some of these other ones, multiple details. But actually, what I've done also is you see these tabs over here.
Yeah.
This pink right here is later analysis. So I'll
Right.
go back and write a later analysis because you get better over time. So this is
Right.
maybe something I would have done differently, and I'm just writing notes to myself on how I would have done that. But you guys have to treat yourselves as professionals and look at yourself as a professional,
Right.
so that you get paid as a professional and a successful one at that. So that's journaling. It's very simple, right down to the core of it. It's just literally copy and pasting images and putting it in there. Again, is it tedious? Absolutely. Sometimes I don't want to do it? Absolutely. But I know I have to do it.
Yeah.
So and
And
I
that's
know
the
it'll get me better.
accountability part too,
Yeah. But
right?
a
So
lot
that's,
of the times, yeah, a lot of the times I love doing it too.
yeah.
It's soothing. Put on some good music, and just back test like the past 2 weeks of trades I could have taken, right?
Right.
And doing like a full week review. Put on some good music, throw your phone on the other side of the room. It's a great practice. And that's what builds confidence, doing things like that.
Right.
And it's going to turn you into a successful trader. So all the power
Absolutely.
to you.
So some of the key takeaways pretty much in your journal that you should be having is, first of all, make sure your journal is organized. Whether you do it by weeks, whether you're doing it by quarter, whether you're doing it by months, it doesn't matter. It's up to you.
Type of
I personally
trade.
do it by weeks as well.
What types of trades?
Yeah, what type of trades, all that stuff. So it's really up to you. How do you want to do it? And then color coordinate, right? So did you win? Did you lose? Was this a break even? Was this just a back test? Maybe, you could assign pink to be like a back test of a trade that you didn't take, but you analyzed,
Yep.
right? Something like that. The details matter. So in my description, for example, what do I have? I have like a pre-trade analysis. So what's my pre-trade analysis? And then I have the fundamental section in the description. Below that, I have what are the trade results, and then what's a lesson that I've learned from that trade, right? So I have those things written down, and then I have like my pre-trade charts. I have during the trade charts, so like entry, and then also my post-trade charts as well, analyzing all of that. So it really depends on you. Like, how do you do it? You can do it like Stephanos. You can do it like myself, like with all those details. But the reason why I have all these details is, again, if I were to come back to my journal, then I can take a look at what were similar market conditions, similar fundamentals that came out, and I know exactly how the market's going to set up and what trades am I looking for.
Absolutely. Great points. Also, what you could do is journal some news events, right? Like right here, I just journal NFP as an example. So these are, this is the results of what came out. This is what was going on over here. And then the multiple time frames, as always, right? This is January 8th. So these are all the NFPs from this year, right? February 5th, right? Exactly what happened. The numbers came out, how the market reacted to it.
I think this is pretty good. And maybe even in the descriptions, you know, if you're doing all this, then you can kind of mention like what was the current economic condition at that time,
Exactly.
right? For example, unemployment claims right now, we know that with unemployment benefits, actually, we know that there's pretty good unemployment benefits. That's why a lot of people, they're not going back to work. And that's something that Powell has stated in his press conference statement. So then maybe just putting a little note about, you know, there's a disconnect between the actual jobs opening up versus people actually being employed. And then what do you think is going to happen to the market? Or maybe even just put your post-trade analysis of like, okay, still gold shot up, even though like better numbers came out or whatever it is, because you understand what the overall economy is,
Yep,
right? So those are
absolutely.
details that you can include. But I do like the idea if there's a specific fundamental that you're learning how to trade, especially NFP, that's something that a lot of people try to get into. I think
Yep.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, as much detail as you could possibly put in here, you know, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's economic data, a technical move that you want to put in there. Now, when it comes to your trading plans, obviously you guys are looking for certain setups. So
Right.
another good practice, this is something that I've introduced to my guys, is you know, making a setups journal right over here, a setups column, and like
Yeah.
obviously break and retest, very classic. And I was only doing this as an example for somebody. Like I've never really had this. I was just on a Zoom with them and showing them this is like a good thing that they could possibly do. And you know, just as a break and retest right there, this is what a fake out would look like, and how you can possibly like enter that with where your stop loss would be, all that stuff. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's not much detail in here because it was an example. Um, you know, impulsive volume push over here. This is a setup that I like and I always pay attention to, is how like price is pushing down. Normally what I like is a wick right here, and then you get the weak body candle close, and then this candle past the low. Normally it just dumps off, especially
Yeah.
after a fake out right here. But typically I want that bottom wick over here, and what you want to do is create like not a database, but find the statistics of how often this ends up playing out. Because most of the time when this happens, where there's no wick right here,
Yeah.
normally it ends up reversing, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen it a lot happen on GJ specifically, that when this happens, it just pushes down anyway.
Yeah.
So these are little things that you guys need to look into.
Have fun with it, you know, like the pretty
Yeah.
much like when you're looking at Stefano's board here, yeah, he has his journals and then he has like setups and then he has like what his future predictions are. Just have fun with journaling, because if all you're doing is just focusing on details, 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 it is going to get boring.
Yeah.
Right? But have fun with it, because this is the important part of your trading. So maybe like even you know, a lot of people ask like, how do you take impulse trades, right? So you have that entire setup, you've back tested on, you understand like, okay, these are things that I'm looking for, X, Y, and Z, color coordinate that. Maybe it's yellow, and then every time you put a yellow on your cards here, then it kind of relates back to like, okay, this was an impulse volume push, or this was like continuation, or this was like, you know, whatever it was. So kind of have fun with it.
Yeah. And a good practice that you guys could have is you know, we've talked about, and me and you were just talking about this, but like a daily must list, like things that you must get done before the end of the day, before your head hits the pillow. One of them could be looking over 5 previous trades that you've taken,
Yeah.
right? Another one could be you know, a pre-trading ritual that you guys can have. You guys probably do your own things right now, but something that you can add into there is having this setups column right here, right? And looking over your ideal setups right before the session, just so that you're like, okay, these are the only setups I'm taking, right? And if I don't get them, I'm not trading. I'm just going to journal whatever, you know, trade I could have possibly gotten. And that's where you start to add more setups into your trading plan, and you get more and more comfortable taking them, adding more risk onto them, so on and so forth. So those are 2 good practices that you guys could possibly have. But start journaling if you're not already. I couldn't, like, watch what happens in the next 3 to 6 months. I know that sounds like a long time from now, but it's really not. It's going to be 2022 before we know it. So
I've seen so many people in my group like who journal, and they've actually seen the results within the first month, and it's because they put details into it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, so
it's like night and day.
yeah, so make sure you're journaling, because again, it's not just part of trading. We obviously in the beginning of the video kind of talked about like Real estate, we've talked about other businesses, you know, in this entire series, we've talked about entrepreneurship in general, but these are things, minor things that affect your business in general. Like Stephanos keeps saying, treat trading like a business, right? You wouldn't just keep going in every single day into your business, just hoping to wing it. You're not really going to go very far
Good luck.
in the long run.
Yeah.
So, you know, just treat it like a business. You have to journal. You have to kind of understand like what are the trades you're looking for. What are your mistakes? You have to review those to be better in the market.
Yeah. And you know, everyone's got their own philosophy of the way the markets work. But
Yeah.
I always think about it like the other guy on the other side of that trade is trying to take my money. They're trying to take the food off my table. So if they're probably journaling, you know, these guys have 30 years of experience trading, right? So, you know, they're probably much better. So if I can get any kind of advantage that I can have, journaling being one of them, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna have no problem doing it. Again, it's tedious sometimes, but you know, it's all for the common good, all for, you know, moving yourself forward and becoming a much better trader down the road. So
If we can do it, honestly, guys, you guys can do it too. Like Steph knows, like, you know, I've seen your stories sometimes where it's like you're on the road and then you're just pulled over to the side and you're just making a video about like, hey guys, like this is a gold trade that I took this morning. You're journaling that, right?
Yeah.
So you got to just make the time, whether, you know, you're not able to do it right during the session and you have to like head out for work or whatever, come back before you go to bed, before you go to the gym, before you do whatever, like make sure you're journaling. It's not going to take that long over time. Initially, everything is hard, everything takes time, but that's the point that you want to be at where it doesn't take you that long.
Before we finish up, just a quick announcement for Instagram. Last ditch effort. And I don't know, call me stupid, call me whatever you want. I don't know why I didn't think of this in the beginning, but I literally just DM'd Instagram, like the actual Instagram, their DM, and I just messaged them because I saw somebody else's story. This is my private account, but saw somebody else's story that that they did that just like as a last ditch effort, and it ended up working. So we'll see if it works. But if it doesn't, then I will see you guys very soon on there.
All right, awesome. We're excited to have you back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to comment below or even just send a message to both of us. I'll put our information at the end of the video. But again,
Awesome.
make sure you're journaling.